And I do believe that we are live, my friends. I think so. I think we are. All right, let me get my papers rolled up here. So I'm not sure that we have ever just specifically had a little roast of Strawflowers. I'm not sure we're live yet, y'all. I guess it is live. It just hasn't come up. Oh, there it is. Hadn't come up on my app yet. So I'm not sure that we have ever. So, hey, welcome, flower friends. It is your friend in flowers, Lisa Mason Ziegler, and welcome to the Live Gardening Show. And tonight, we're talking about something that I'm just sitting here thinking about. I don't think we've ever kind of like roasted up some Strawflower talk, just talking about them and why I love these boogers so much. But we're going to get to that in just a few minutes. So let me put these back here. And we have lots of those to look at. And so, friends, I want to just welcome you. This is to the Live Gardening Show. This is something that has just developed into something I absolutely love doing. And it is teaching people how to garden and grow great cut flowers. And if we've never met before, my name is Lisa Mason Ziegler, and I am the owner of the Gardener's Workshop. And, you know, I was a professional cut flower farmer for over 25 years, and I'm on a mission now to help other people, particularly people that were like me, that thought they could never do this. They just never thought it was possible, right? I threw in the towel on gardening, and then I found my way. And whether you want to grow flowers for pleasure or for profit, I am here to help you travel that journey, right? We have the tools, seeds, supplies, the education, the how-tos, the tutorials. We have everything you need to actually do it. And that's what this show is all about highlighting different parts of it and showing you actually how to do it. And so if you are new here, these evening pop-up shows and the Wednesday night show, I run by myself, so you have to bear with me just a little teeny bit. And I just want to say hey to everybody. And so tonight's show is going to be about why I grow Strawflowers and why I absolutely love them. How they literally have saved our butts in summer so many times when we were in high production. And because they're so valuable at that, they're even more valuable to the small grower and to the home gardener. And in case I forget to mention it later, Strawflowers are a huge draw for native bees. They absolutely adore these flowers as much as I do. So I'm going to share with you how I start them. I'm going to show you how I do that. And friends, y'all have just blown us away again. You know that 3 weekends ago, we had a weekend special, the Soil Block Maker Kit. We put it, which is already discounted because it's a kit, right? We put it on the deal of the day, so it was on sale through the weekend. Well, we sold out in less than 24 hours. And then last weekend, we restocked, and we thought, okay, we'll run it again because people missed out on it. Y'all did it again. We sold out. So we brought it back this past weekend, and we have sold more soil blocking kits than we've ever sold before. And we extended, so we brought the sale back over the weekend, and it ends tonight at midnight. And I'll be telling you all about that more, but that is going to be tonight. Today's the day. If you've been on the fence, you just need to do that. And friends, I have something to show you about the big calendar journal that nobody has seen because literally I just ran out and got the proof off my porch. And we'll have a little peeky poo at that. And then I will be doing the live Q&A at the end of the show where I'll answer a few questions. So if you want to ask a question, just post in the comments at Lisa and then type your question. And then I will take a look at those because I have my app up and going, so I have access to them. And then, so friends, we know because we have so many new people joining us that y'all are sharing and telling a friend. And I just want to say thank you so very much. And you know, inside the app, there is this little button down at the bottom, and that allows you to invite your friends and to let them know that there's a live gardening show going on, and maybe if they'd like to join you, that would be so totally awesome. Remember that when you're checking out here in the app to double check your email address and your phone number, because we need valid addresses and phone numbers to be able to ship to you. And so please check them and make sure that they are correct. Now, here inside the app, if you're new here, all seed packet only orders. That means if you just order seeds, we pay the shipping, and we absolutely love doing that for you guys. But we also offer here in the app a cap on product shipping, and that's $11.95. So it doesn't matter if you buy 1 item or 10 items. It's still just $11.95. Now, if you just came across us on social media, I am so glad that you're here. But what you need to know is that we do have a free app. And in the app, you just have a lot more ways to interact, and you can actually be included on the Q&A and participate more, right? So to get the app, which is free, just jump right now over to your phone's app store, search Gardener's Workshop. And then we have 2 apps. You're looking to grab the shop app. It's free. It'll take 30 seconds to download, and then jump right in. And we'll be right here waiting for you. But when you're in the app, you can participate in the comments with all the other live viewers, as well as you can submit questions. And on the Friday show, which is the biggest show of the week, you can participate in the giveaway, which I give something away every single Friday. All right, so we often, as with this wait list thing for the soil block maker kits, so if we frequently sell out of stuff when I talk about them, and so if you go to put an item in your cart and it says out of stock, right below that it says get notified, I would recommend you do that, because sometimes the team is bringing over more stock from our big website. The website and our app do not talk, y'all. It's ridiculous, really, but that's the way it is. So just know that's the only thing it means, is that you'll get a little notification on your phone if and when that gets restocked, okay? And friends, if you're seeing people post the sunflower emoji, those are folks that are identifying themselves as the TGW family. Those people are our online course students who we hold near and dear, as well as members of my Flower Farmer private club. And we just love it when they send us out a bunch of love, y'all. And now I have a special announcement that you will not hear anywhere else either. And we'll be singing it from the rooftops tomorrow and Friday. We have a special event that's going to happen this Friday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. It is going to be a field and garden watch party. And the title of the what we're watching is What's Your Problem? And I will be joined by Lenny Larkin. Lenny Larkin and I did a special podcast episode with one of my students, one of her students from her course, and we had a sit-down chat with her about what was her problem that she was facing. And we're going to have a little watch party and watch the highlights, so you will be able to get a part of that, be a part of that on either Facebook or YouTube, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, Friday night, and it is going to be so fun. I don't know about you, but I'm bringing popcorn, Reese cups, and just watch, and Lenny and I will be the peanut gallery. It's going to be a lot of fun. We've never done anything like it, and it'll be even more fun if you're there in the comments asking us questions and kind of joining in on the fun. So please spread the word. I'll be posting about it tomorrow and Friday. But anyway, we just love Jessie's just our marketing person, and she just thinks of the funnest stuff to do, y'all. I think this is going to be a ton of fun. So join us Friday evening, 8 p.m. Eastern Time on either YouTube, my YouTube channel, and you can comment. You can get to my YouTube channel through our website. I'm just trying to think. Or you could just search Gardener's Workshop over on YouTube, right? And on Facebook. All right, so let's talk about some strawflowers. Now, who are they? I was kind of holding up this bunch. This is the mix. We'll look at some of the individual colors. Y'all, these are like 2 or 3 years old. They've been dried. They've been, you know, through a lot of use. But Strawflowers, really, they're kind of like sunflowers almost. It's like folks just think, oh, you know, what's with them? Well, let me tell you about Strawflowers. They actually, let me show you on this. And this is, I was hoping I had written the date on the back of this when I hot glued these. These are at least, from what it says on the back, I can promise you this is at least 4 years old. Look how bright and pretty these blooms still are, right? So these are not actually petals, they're considered brackets. And they're just super cool, right? I absolutely love them. So they're native to Australia, and the native bees love these plants. I see more cute little native bees with pollen breeches crawling around on Strawflowers. The only one that might have more is Rudbeckias. They're really significant to pollinators. But here's the rest of the good news. They are deer resistant, and they come in a variety of colors, and they are great branchers, so you can pinch them and just get tons of stems. So they, I guess I really need to actually like bring the seeds up. Well, I'm actually just talking about them, right? So they're cool season hardy annuals, which was very surprising to me because they're kind of like Lysianthus, where they like to be established when in cool conditions, but they bloom on into the heat. And so we kind of call that a cool start with a hot finish. And they are winter hardy to zone 8, which I'm zone 8A. I'm actually right on the edge of 8A and 7B. So I actually do not fall plant Strawflowers, but if you are south of me, I'm in southeastern Virginia. So if you are in 8A kind of, and have reliable winters that don't go below, like I think it's 10 degrees actually. Thank you, Susie, for writing that on here. Then you can definitely fall plant them. However, this is what I want to tell you about them is that you can plant them. I have great success planting these in very early spring. Some of the benefits of fall planting are like they, you know, plants get much taller because they're so much well established. I have found that with Strawflowers, even when they're planted in very early spring, with my crazy hot, cold conditions here, once spring comes, they do great. So if you're in 8B or 9, definitely you can fall plant them for sure. But the rest of us, don't be worried about not getting tall stems because Strawflowers perform beautifully for me when I plant them in very early spring. They prefer well-drained soil, always in full blasting sun, right? And they are, they obviously do better because I want you to hear. Can y'all hear that? This is dried, but that's exactly how they sound when they've just been born too. So obviously drier conditions, meaning not a lot of rain, is better for these guys. So let's take a look at some of these different ones. I'm gonna bring up the seeds. And so first up is the mix. And so the mix has all the colors except for the peach, which there's a peach mix, which we're gonna see. But, and again, I wanna say, these guys have been dried for, I'm gonna say 3 years. And so, but they still have such great colors. I will tell you, I'm gonna show you this. When I'm harvesting them for fresh use in the summer, I don't mind harvesting them when they're wide open, right? They're just beautiful with that yellow ring showing. However, if you are planning on drying them, you don't wait that late. See how this center got really big and brown and all the brackets are kind of pointed backwards? That's because it was a wide open bloom that actually got harvested. This is the stage to harvest if you're intending to dry them. before you see that yellow center. And you'll know it once you start growing them, you'll know what I'm talking about. But if you're putting them in fresh bouquets, which was my primary use for them, I didn't mind if they were, the first one in the center was wide open and the rest of them were in this stage. But this is the mix, which I would say if you're just meeting Strawflowers, this is definitely the place I would start because it's going to have all the colors that I'm getting ready to show you. And that way, you know, especially if you have limited space, it's always nice to grow a mix so you can make the most use out of your space. So this is the king size mix. Now let's see which one we have next here. Oh, we're going to do the peach mix. And I don't think I have any peach mix to show you. I do not, but, so I'll show you the cards too. This is the one that just went past. This is the king size mix, what they look like when they're beautiful and fresh. I absolutely love them. So this is what I was talking about. See how you can see the yellow ring in the center here and a lot of the yellow is exposed there? That's fine, and this one's really evident. That's fine for fresh. But if you're looking to dry a bunch of these, to do something with them, this is how you're gonna actually cut them when they're not quite fully open. But y'all, here is the peach mix. We sell out of this one every year. This is the one you definitely wanna latch on to. The peach apricot mix has several different hues in it. Really, really beautiful. And especially if you sell straight bunches of flowers and you sell retail and commercially, this is always a really hot color. It is so beautiful with salmon zinnias. It is so very, very beautiful. And then, let's see where we are. Oh, hit the wrong button there. So I'm on the peach. So next up is creamy white. And I do not have any whites. So the creamy white is more of a, you can almost see it's almost got an ivory tinge to it. But I'm going to be totally honest with you. The vintage white that I'm going to show you next is just a starker white. You know, I mean, and honestly, unless you're dealing with designers for a wedding or something, it really doesn't make that big a difference. I grow them both just because we love lots of white flowers. So that is the vintage white. So very, very pretty. And that is classic how you can see these are all great for drying because they aren't really very open. But this is the vintage white, which actually has a more of a yellow center. And see, I love this for fresh use. I love it. And you can see how it's a starker, clearer white. And again, it wouldn't matter to most of us. But this is just such a beautiful, I mean, especially to have a good, clean white flower in summer. And I'm going to talk more about that bloom stuff. Now, this is Silvery Rose. And I do have some that have aged out. So this is some that are pretty old, but you can just get the gist. This is what they look like fresh. They're absolutely, this is my favorite summer color for bouquets. This and yellow. I mean, I'm always looking for bright colors, right? Look how pretty and beautiful they are. I mean, I love that Strawflowers have multiple blooms, you know, on a stem. They're just, they last forever. Obviously, they last forever, right? That's just another reason. Now, this is the other one that we grow a lot of in summer. So this has more pink. The Silvery Rose that we saw has more white with pink blushes. This is hot pink. This is the one we grow the lion's share of, alongside the gold and the silvery white in summer. Really, really beautiful. And if I forget to mention it, somebody put in the questions about succession planting these. All right, so this, I'll show you first. You know, orange is my favorite color, but this is kind of dark. This is one that I would succession plant for later blooming. It's really a great color, but it's just darker. And let me show you what it looks like. This is what it looks like dry. It's a little bit lighter, but see, all these are too wide open. what happens as they dry, they just keep opening. Once they hit that open, they just keep on opening. But this is a great color. This is great late summer and into fall. And then look at this one, y'all. Oh, I didn't bring it up. Sorry, y'all. I missed. Let me bring them up. Bright Rose, which is that hot pink one. Sorry, I just brought that up. That's what this is. This is my go-to. So think about putting this in summer bouquets with orange and yellow and sunflowers and purple. It's just totally beautiful. It's just a great, great color. And while, you know, it's really great to dry flowers, our first line of action is always to move the flowers fresh. It's just more work, right? And it's just more work, more investment of time. All right, then the last one that I just showed you, now I've mixed them up, was the orange, which I just brought up, which is this one. Looks a little darker fresh than it does dried, and it could just be the light too, right? So the orange is really nice, but look at this one. This is the other go-to for summer. Look at that yellow. And you want to talk about the bees? Oh my goodness, those native bees, our longhorn bees love these guys. Totally love them. And then here's another color for later, and that is copper. Copper red. See how it's just kind of got that sunset kind of look about it? That is definitely a late summer bloom color, right? And so this is one that I really love too. And I wanted to show you this. This is golden yellow. This is a little dried arrangement Susie Q made that just sits up here on our shelf. I mean, it's just a bright color, right? So, you know, I'm always looking for the most diverse flowers to grow for the most uses. And that is golden yellow, bright rose are just the go-to. And let me tell you, y'all, when they're dried, they make a mess. Bobo's going to come in tomorrow morning and say, did you show dried flowers last night? Because the floor is like confetti covered. All right, so let's see where we are here. I didn't turn this. So how do I start Strawflower? So I soil block. And this is, I have brought up the Soil Block Maker Kit. And tonight at midnight Eastern time is when this kit will actually go off of sale. And I'm going to show you the kit first, and then I'm going to bring it up and make some, and I'm going to sow some Strawflowers. All right, so the Soil Block Maker Kit has, it's been our #1 selling product since 2005. It's because I think all of us want to start seeds. We all struggled just like I used to. And soil blocking is just such a great way. And I don't have any Strawflower babies to show you, but look at these. These are Billy Balls, Craspedia. This is 100 blocks on this tray. And we use all different size trays, but it's just super space savvy. It just grows. I haven't picked up any of these. Let's see what a little, you can just see a little root coming out the bottom there. Can y'all see that up against maybe the dark? One of the advantages, there's so many advantages to soil blocks. One thing is what I just did. If this was growing in a plug tray, there's no way you could handle it if you needed to, or if you needed to have it for anything. You can handle soil blocks so much earlier in the process, which means you can plant them earlier and they hit the ground running because they just adapt so very, very quickly. So let me show you how we make those. Oh, I'm gonna actually show you the kit first. All right, the kit comes with everything you need to make soil blocks. It comes with the small blocker, which is the one that I use almost 95% of the time. If only time I don't use this size is if the seed will not fit. think things like sweet peas, sunflowers, squash, zucchini, right? So, and this is the original Ladbroke, which we import from England. There are lots of counterfeits now and lots of knockoffs. And I will tell you that the counterfeit ones actually say Ladbroke on them. You have to really look where they're being shipped from and you'll know right away. And the price. They're like half the price of the true Ladbroke ones. So we stand behind our tools, and Ladbroke, who's in England, stands behind us. So these are the original Ladbroke brand. It comes with a bag of the ready-made blocking mix. This is a 6-quart bag. This 6-quart bag makes approximately 600 of those small blocks, y'all. Goes such a very long way. The kit also includes your choice of either 3 cool season seeds or 3 warm season seeds, up to you. And it also includes my Seed Starting Made Easy online course. You own it for life. Once you get it with the kit, you have lifetime unlimited access. It takes you from beginning all the way through, starting them, growing them up, hardening them off, getting them to the garden, and it even has a session on sowing seeds directly out in the garden. So that comes with it. It comes with 5 of our reusable foam trays. Each tray holds 3 sets of 20. It comes with the toothpick, which you're gonna see me use that, and the static free little seed pan. And friends, so this kit is a bargain at $89.95. I mean, that's like, I believe it's 15% off. Could be 12%. So that's already a deal. And it is now 20% off through midnight. And that makes it $71.96. That is just a deal of a lifetime. This tool and these trays will last you for the rest of your life. If you take care of them, wash them up and store them, right? You just add seed and soil each year. So the Soil Block Maker Kit, again, is on sale until midnight tonight. And today is September 24th if you're watching the replay. And all these items are available individually here inside the app. All right, trying to make way so I can start some seeds for you guys. So let me show you how I start those, and then I'll sow some straw flowers. You know, straw flowers are one of those that gets surface sown, and so that throws some people off. And as usual, y'all, I just don't have enough space. I never, ever, ever have enough space. All right, so thing about soil blocking is you use wet blocking mix, very different than filling up a container or something, because your block is the container, so you have to make it. And so I added some water right before I came on, probably gonna splatter dirt, mud all over the front of me. All right, so let you see what I'm doing down here. So I start in a tub. Kitty litter boxes are great. You just want something that's big enough for you to freely be able to work in. And we tell you how much water to add to your blocking mix. And we have the DIY blocking recipe for you to actually start it at home, always available on our website. So this is really moist. And so you hold the tool with the stationary bar, 2 hands, y'all, and you just push it down in the mix twice. I might do it 3 times because it went too easy. I think I made it too wet. This is a potato masher. This is what I have found to be the best tool for striking off the bottom. And then this is one of our other size trays. There's all these trays are available in the app. No drainage holes, and it has no ridges, so it doesn't trap water. You place the tool on the tray, give it a push and a pull, and there you go, y'all. We just made, I think that Bobo, we used this today. It probably could use a little bath. We just made 20 little blocks, y'all. 20 little containers, just that quick and easy. Now, I'm gonna sow the Strawflower seeds. So the reason we use these aluminum seed pans, I can still remember life before I learned this, y'all. I can remember using a little soft butter dish, putting my seeds in it, because, you know, I've just started thousands and thousands and thousands of seeds, even back before we were high production. And I can remember chasing the seed in the container, that static that's making that happen. All right, I have seeds. So here they are. First off, remember, all the instructions are right on the seed packet. Y'all, you have to read them. I have to read them every time. All right, it says start them 4 to 6 weeks before you want to plant them. And do not cover the seeds with soil. That means that the seeds need light to germinate. It takes about 7 to 10 days to sprout. Then we tell you how to space them out in the garden. And it says that they're winter hardy to zone 8. So, I think these are pretty little seeds. Medium. So I just dump a few in here, and saliva on the toothpick is stickier than water, y'all. And when let's see, these are a little bit bigger than I thought. When I literally just touch my toothpick, do you see that seed on there? It just hops on, y'all. That's the key. And then I'm just firmly pushing it down. I am not pushing it deep. I guess I should move this a little bit so y'all can see a little better how that's a little better, isn't it? All right, so I am just touching the toothpick to the seed. Can y'all see? The seed is on there. And then I am firmly, you're not sprinkling the seed, you're pushing the seed down just to seed it. It is not being covered with soil because it needs light. And you know what a big part of needing light is? It needs oxygen to actually sprout. And then, y'all, I could do this. This is like cross stitching. I could just do it till the cows came home. Okay, that's all I'm gonna do. So that's how you sow surface seeds. Now, what is the rest of the story? So, I am going to take those seeds. So here's just some tips about, sorry y'all, some tips about specifically about strawflowers. Strawflowers are very much like larkspur, where the seeds, you just don't want to hold seeds for over a year. You want to try to use fresh seeds. And so that's for the best germination. Use the freshest seeds possible. And I will tell you, that's one of the reasons that we package the way that we do. Many seed companies are packing this year. Well, they're already packing probably for the year after. They pack way in advance, and they just pack all the seeds, and when they run out the next season, they don't restock until the next year. We actually are constantly packing, and it's a little bit more complicated, but we have such a great system. But what that means to you is you are getting the freshest seed possible all the time. So let's just say, so I have my seeds for very early spring now. And so it's time for you to get those seeds. So I don't want you to be afraid to not get seeds for spring. I'm saying don't buy a bulk amount of strawflowers and expect to use them for 2 or 3 years like we do on many other seeds. But strawflowers are not one of those, right? And then the way that you, just to back that up with a little bit of how do you store seeds, right? So let me move up here. Oh, I'm in the wrong box. What's new, right? All right. So the key to storing seeds and keeping them viable is to keep them cool and to keep them dry. So cool meaning, you can put them in the refrigerator, you can even store in the freezer, but the really important thing is to keep them dry. And that's why we use and always have on hand desiccant packs. And to put your seeds in an airtight container, that can be a Ziploc bag, a mason jar with the top on it, with a desiccant pack. Give it a couple of days to work before you put it into refrigeration. Let it work and dry everything out, and then put them in the refrigerator. And when you take them out, you do the complete opposite of that. You actually take them out, don't open the container, let them defrost, and if there's going to be any condensation, let your desiccant packs work. And so these you can get 2-pack for $2.95 or a 10-pack for $11.80, and that's like a 20% discount off of those. So that just helps you to know how to keep your seeds as fresh as possible. Now, those are surface sown seeds, right? So just imagine if I took these guys in to my grow room. And see, we cut them sometimes to the size. This is cut to what size tray that's in the kit. But I would take this tray into the grow room to put it on the seedling heat mat, and I literally just lay the burlap over it. That just helps to trap some of the moisture. However, it allows air circulation because it's got big holes, wide weave, right? So that is the wide weave, which is especially useful on those surface sown seeds. And so you put it on top, and in the morning when I come out, I pull it back, do my watering chores, and then I just lay it back down. Once you see seeds starting to crack and germinate, I usually remove it because you don't want any seedlings to pop through any of these holes, or you'll just rip them out by their roots the next day, right? But once you start seeing cracking starting to happen, the burlap has done its job. You just take it off and set it aside. So this comes in like a 3-foot square piece, which is obviously easy to cut. It's $3.95. And then you can get a 3-pack for $9.95. And it's just one of those things that is just really easy to help you be more successful. Now, you use that when you put them onto the seedling heat mat because yes, even cool season hardy annuals need to have some warmth. They don't need it hot, but they definitely need warmth. That helps them to know when to break dormancy and when to sprout. So this is the seedling heat mat. Has a built-in thermostat in it, which is actually regulated off of the air temperature. I like to keep my room where the heat mat is at about 65 to 70 degrees because the heat mat warms up 15 to 20 degrees warmer than the air temperature, right? For cool season hardy annuals, I do a little something extra. I take a cookie cooling rack. Yep, this is what we use. This was my mom's. Used to put cookies on and literally just place that on the seedling heat mat. That creates a little air space and that just cools down the hot to warm because they still need warm and they need it 24/7 until they start that cracking. So I just place my trays on the cookie cooling rack and then the burlap just lays right on top of this. And this is how they're in the grow room, literally. And then I come in the morning and I water. So the heat mat is $39.95 and it stays plugged in 24/7 and regulates itself. And it makes the difference between seed sprouting and not sprouting. And your air temperature plays a really big role in that. Now, I'm frequently asked, how do I get my seedlings to be so beautiful and green and stocky and all those things? And a big part of that, let me pull this over here, is that I feed them every week when I water on Mondays. So Mondays, I add a tablespoon of Neptune seaweed fish, 1 tablespoon to a gallon, the house plant actual dose. And when I'm doing my watering chores on Mondays, they get a dose of food, right? And so it makes all the difference in the world. This can also be used out in the garden for a soil drench, a foliar feed. That just simply means y'all put it in a watering can with a sprinkler on the head and just foliar feed, sprinkle it on the foliage, right? But it definitely has a smell, so you would never do that when there's actual buds on a plant. But yeah, we love Neptune's Harvest. It is, and if I brought it up, I didn't bring the burlap up and I didn't bring the heat mat up, y'all. I am so sorry. So here is the Neptune's Harvest. And then I am gonna bring up here for just a minute, so it'll be in the lineup down below, the seedling heat mat. And I will say that the seedling heat mat, there are big ones available over on our website if you think that might be you. And you can find the burlap here in the app. And sorry about that, y'all. I need a little finger here that just taps me on the shoulder. Now, the floating row cover, which is what we use when we're heading into cold weather, is really useful to cover your plants. I like using it. This is a picture of some out in our garden. We use the lightweight row cover. This is Ag 19. It only has 4 degrees of cold protection, because we really don't use it for cold protection. We use it to block the wind and also to keep varmints like deer and rabbits and golden retrievers from walking all over our beds, especially when we use hoops, which you can find hoops over on our big website. You can see that just keeps them from grazing on our plants. It also really helps to retain moisture. Just think about a winter day, you know, it's 20 degrees outside. When you are 20 degrees outside and the sun is really brightly shining, it is pretty dadgum toasty underneath there, blocking the wind and concentrating the heat. Lightweight row covers are so much more valuable than what most people realize. And I attribute row cover use during the winter months against cold wind really makes my cool flowers come out of winter in better shape than just, I mean, they don't need it for cold. I only grow cool flowers that survive my winter temperatures, right? But who doesn't want a windbreaker on when the wind's whipping out there, right? So it really, really helps. So it comes in a 20-foot, it's all 6.5 feet wide. And it's $12.95 for a 20-footer. A 50-footer is $26.95. And we do have longer ones over on our big website if you need it. And the reason it's kind of called floating row cover is it can be used short term without hoops because it is so lightweight. Literally, you can plant seeds or transplants and loosely lay this on top and weight it down just to block wind or whatever temporary thing you're trying to do. And it works really well for that too. So that is floating row cover. Would not be without this. And for cool season hardy annuals. And let me just tell you about strawflowers. So we plant our strawflowers in very early spring, right? Very early spring for me. I'm April 15th is my last frost day, typically. So February 14th, Valentine's Day, is our planting window for very early spring, that to March 1st. It is not uncommon for us to have snow on the ground, to be frozen, to still be going way below freezing. So when we plant our strawflowers out, they're immediately hooped and row covered. You know, they'll take that cold, but I don't want to like put them to their limits. I want to enhance their growing, right? So hoops and row covers for very early spring planting is essential for that. And what do you use with those but weight bags? So let me bring that up. The anchor bags is what we actually call them. And this is what they look like full. You can fill these with either soil, sand, gravel. This is gravel because I always have a little pile of gravel out here, some 57. And 15 pounds is the magic number. So you fill one up, take it inside your house or bring your scale out, weigh one, and then just guess on the rest of them. And as you saw in this picture that I put 3, I live in a really windy place, y'all. So I have learned the secret code. 3 bags on the end and 1 at the foot of every hoop. Hoops are 10 to 12 feet apart here. And having enough weight bags really makes you be able to keep the row covers down. And notice how nice, and they aren't tight, but they aren't loose. It's when they're loose and air gets under them that you really have lifting problems. So the anchor bags come in, what do they come in? 10 bags, 30 bags, and 60 bags. And there's a discount each time you get more. You will never have enough weight bags. I mean, we are constantly making them. And they're sensitive to UV rays. I get about 2 seasons out of a bag usually. And when they're not in use in the garden, we pile them up on a pallet and then just cover them with a silage tarp or something just to block the actual sun so they don't break down as fast. So we get right good use out of them. All right, let me see where we are. Now, for growing strawflowers, you definitely have to net them. Friends, my first very early spring planting strawflowers are up here. They're chest high, right? So support netting is essential because, again, they get multiple blooms on a stem, which makes them really kind of top heavy. And then you let a rain or something come that makes the blooms get heavier, it really makes a difference. So this is the plant support netting, and it is plastic. It is reusable year after year. And there's videos on the product that you can watch of us doing that, removing it and putting it down. And it's 6-inch squares, and you suspend it above your flower bed just using simple strong stakes and installing them at the right time, the halfway to maturity mark. For straw flowers, I put the netting at about 24 inches, and then they just grow up through it. And it just makes the job, it makes them not go down after all this hard work. I mean, that's the part that I just see people resisting using flower support. And when it's installed properly, tautly, not left hanging loose in the garden, you know, it is efficient to use. And when your flowers grow up through it, you don't lose stems. There is nothing more disheartening than to have tall, beautiful flowers, have a 10-minute torrential rain, and they all lay down. And there is no bringing them back up, y'all. So flower support netting comes in a 20-foot piece, a 50-foot piece, and we have longer ones over on the big website. Now, I want to talk, oh, I can't wait to show you. Y'all are going to be the first people to see this. I mean, nobody but me. Susie hasn't even seen it. She picked it up and brought it, and it was in a wrapper. All right, so let's take a little peeky poo. Wait a minute, where am I? At the big calendar journal. So the thing is, you want to get on the wait list, which hitting the button, you're not buying it, it's not for sale yet, is to get on the wait list, which simply means the minute we open the pre-sale, October 1st, it is not shipping until November, y'all, probably late November. Getting on the wait list means you'll just get an email when the pre-sale opens, because all the pre-sale purchasers are going to be invited to a free workshop of us walking through you marking up your planting windows, which then leads you to figure out when you actually start the seed, right? So you definitely want to do that. So what is happening we're down to the wire. We'll be sending the file to the printer to prep next week. And so we're printing lots of proofs right now. And so I have a proof of the cover of it, which kind of just shows you a couple of different pieces. It's so beautiful, y'all. My sister is such an amazing graphic artist person. And I'm going to show that to you, but I just want to tell you a little bit, before I get all caught up in that calendar, I want to tell you about when I plant straw flowers. So, as I mentioned earlier, it is winter hardy to zone 8. I'm on the edge of 8A and 7B, and I've lost them over winter when we go deep. So I just skip and go straight to very early spring and have excellent results. But if you're in 8B or 9 and 10, of course, you can definitely plant them in the fall, right? And we cover them immediately with row cover and hoops when we plant them out. So it's that 6 to 8 weeks before your last spring frost. Mine's mid-April, so that means mid-February I'm getting my straw flower transplants in the ground. So they're started like the 1st of January, right? And here's the thing about straw flowers that is not true for all cool season hardy annuals. We succession plant straw flowers. That means that after I plant that first planting in mid-February to March 1st, every 4 to 6 weeks then, we would, as soon as we plant them, we start the next ones. And then we would do that for 2 or 3 more times. It really depends on what your demand. If you're a home gardener, you don't need to do that. Maybe one more planting a little bit later to have those darker colors later in the season. But straw flowers, they are not going to grow this tall when you plant them in May, perhaps, but they still grow plenty tall enough, and they're very abundant, and they're excellent branchers. So you can get them in early, your first very early spring planting, but then you can do them every 4 to 6 weeks for a couple, 3 even additional times. And so I want to say, when you go to the calendar, it says out of stock. That's because it's not been put in stock yet. Get on the notification list. And you know, here in the app, you can actually, on the home page, you can find, there's a place there. I haven't looked yet. They say that you can see what wait list you're on, so you can make sure that you can get it. The calendar is $39.95. It's the deal of a lifetime, y'all. It takes from my resources, my books, that key piece of figuring out when and what you planned and put it right on the front page. So y'all ready to see it? You ready? All right. And first off, I want to also say, so I had to paper clip the cover to the blank sample that we have. Do you know that I had to go through this entire building and I could only find 3 paper clips? I found Reese cups, I found cough drops, I found tissues, I found all these other things that I've been looking for, but there are no paper clips here, so I didn't get to clip it quite as well as I wanted to, is all I'm getting at. So are y'all ready? So this is like a cover of a book. This is like a little taste of what it's gonna look like. Y'all, isn't it so beautiful? So, this is the theme, and this is just a snapshot of one of, this page is actually this big, and then there's an instruction page, a tip page. I know you can't really tell anything from this except that it's just really, really pretty, and it's really, really big. And so we cannot wait for y'all to have this in your hands. And so get on the wait list, and the calendar will be $39.95 plus shipping, and it's going to change your world, y'all. I am not even going to fathom that we will sell out of the first printing, but it's really possible. I mean, I never thought we would sell out the first printing of the Cut Flower Handbook in 2 days. With the publisher literally freaked out. And I'm hoping that'll happen with the calendar. But what I'm just saying is that if that were to happen, it's that first run. We'll just deal with that when it comes. But get in on the pre-sale, because you want to get in on the workshop, right? So you don't want to miss out on that, because I can't wait to help you, to guide you through getting your planting windows. There's 8 succession windows with the instructions on how to figure out what your dates are for you to then go in and mark your calendar up. So this calendar doesn't have my planting dates on it, y'all. It has my instructions for you to find your planting dates. Once again, I'm not giving you fish, I'm teaching you how to fish, right? All right, so can't wait for that. It's gonna be so incredibly awesome. All right, so how do I harvest straw flowers, right? You know, here it is. I didn't even grab the new ones. These are mine, y'all. This is the shear and pouch, which is a kit. I mean, it's like a little bundle, so it's a little bit of a savings. It's $57.95. And, you know, so if you don't pinch, and I do recommend pinching, and particularly maybe not the first planting. You know, my pinching rule is to pinch half of the plant, so you get half branching early and half bloom early. But all the future ones, I would definitely pinch them because they just are such great producers. But we cut the central stem out. That's the first, that would have been the first pinch. If you hadn't pinched it, it would grow this central great stem. And we cut that all the way. I mean, they're this tall, y'all. I cut it all the way at the ground above 3 or 4 side leaves. There's not really shoots. There's just leaves. And then all of the branching. And there'll be branches coming up from the ground. And remember, if you're using them fresh, you can let them get a little bit open. But if you're looking for dried flowers, you want to be sure to get them before they start to really open. And we remove all the foliage that's like this far below the blooms. There's just no need to keep all that stuff. They are super great conditioning. You know, I mean, they just don't have any hydrating problems. And this is the clipper that I absolutely love using. I love it because it has a spring, which means I don't have to, I mean, I can't believe when people that have to, you know, like they put their fingers under it and pull their levers back out. These are small and lightweight. They're actually bonsai shears. And this is my pouch. And why do I keep a pair of clippers for 2 years? Because I always have a pouch on my hip, which means I never lay them down outside in the garden or anywhere, actually. And so this is really a fun thing to have. It'll change your world. And this is like the #1 Christmas, right behind asking me for Red Rooster pepper wreaths for Christmas, this is what my family asks for, is shears, because all of them love flowers, right? All right. So here is something that we haven't shown in a really long time, but it's so pertinent for actually Strawflowers, and that is the drying rack. So if you're somebody that's a home gardener and you don't have a building like this to hang a bunch of dried flowers, but you want to dry some flowers, this is our drying rack. And I love this thing because it doesn't take up much space. I think this is like 18 inches or something thereof. I'm going to show you what it looks like in just a minute. So this, I have to just line up the little deals. So this can hang. It comes with the little S hooks for you to hang your flowers on. This hangs and only takes up that much space, and you can hang a bunch, and I just messed it up doing that. So you can hang multiple bunches of flowers in a very small space. And this could actually be fun and part of decoration. If you have a rustic look or whatever in your kitchen, this would be really fun to hang peppers on, to hang garlic on, all of our peppers, our gumphrena, just a lot of fun stuff that you could actually do with this. And it's kind of that powder coated, and it's like an antique brown. Totally love this. How much is this thing? $26.95, and it comes wrapped. So if you wanted to give it as a gift, it's really fun, and it comes with matching S-hooks in there. And Strawflowers are really great to use, and I'm just sitting here thinking, we might load this booger. We're cutting rooster peppers tomorrow for drying for wreaths. Maybe I'll actually make a little display out of that. So that's really fun, and we don't talk about that very often because we're not really about dried flowers as a main reason, but why not do that with your leftovers, right? And then, so folks, it's time to start wrapping up here. And I want to just remind people that may have joined us later. Again, we are having a watch party on Friday night. Let me go back up here. I don't want to mess the wording up. And that is Friday night on either my YouTube channel or over on Facebook. We are having a watch party for Field and Garden, which is my podcast, and it's a video podcast. And the watch party is What's Your Problem? Lenny Larkin, good friend, co-flower farmer, excellent teacher, and I had a roundtable discussion with one of our students, Tori Anderson, and it's like she shared her problem with us, and we kind of pitched around what we needed to do. It's going to be fun. So we've never done anything like this before, y'all. So it'll be on YouTube and Facebook. So Lenny and I will be live together watching it. I haven't even watched it yet. I'm bringing popcorn and Reese cups. I have to remember to get some Reese cups. Like you're at the movies, y'all. We're going to have a little watch party, and we're just not watching the whole thing. We're just going to have some highlights and some clips to keep it fun and light, and we'll take some questions. So please join us. I'm hoping Tori will be in the comments with us. So Tori's like a 4 or 5 year flower farmer doing a great job. And so it was really fun to listen to what her problem was and to give our 2 cents worth. We're the Peanut Gallery. So friends, be sure to join us for that. I wanted to mention that because that just kind of developed here in the last few weeks. And so at the very end of this, I'll do a little Q&A for some of the questions that you guys have posted in the comments. If you want a question, put a question in the comments. Put @Lisa in the comments and put your question, and I'll see what I can do. I want you to remember that over on our big website, there's so much, y'all. We have so many free resources. There's videos, there's blogs, there's podcasts. We have 2 podcasts, Field and Garden, hosted by yours truly, and I have occasional guests like Lenny Larkin, Dave Dowling, and different people. And then we have Seed Talk with Lisa and Lane. So I want to point out a couple of episodes. Be ready to write these down. So Seed Talk, episode number 12, one of the first ones, 2 flowers we are thankful for, and they were sunflowers and strawflowers. So that was a special little talk that Lane and I did. And then Seed Talk episode number 9. I mean, these are way back, y'all. Dried flowers, grow, harvest, dry, and arrange and store. And Lane and I had Ellen Frost on our podcast with us. So that's really fun. Ellen's who I actually learned how to do all this dried flower stuff, y'all, with. It's a lot of fun. And then Field and Garden, there's a replay of an Ask a Flower Farmer talking about harvesting straw flowers. That's number 307. And then number 263 of Field and Garden is Added Value Dried Flowers. So that is a really fun one. Now, if you want to learn more about growing straw flowers, I didn't look this up yet. Let me look it up. Susie's so good about just telling me where in my book stuff is. So in the Cut Flower Handbook, just let me bring that up, on page 171, which is here, you can see some that are planted there. Try not to rip the page off. And look at this funness. So there is some straw flowers, but this is like a 4 feet by 8 feet flat lay that we did for the book of all the different straw flowers. We had that on display here on the farm. I think we had an open farm during that time, and people got to see that up close. There's just so much fun stuff. So there's 3 pages of straw flower talk in the Cut Flower Handbook. And friends, the Cut Flower Handbook and the big calendar are going to be like the 2 companions that are just can really help you figure out your 3-season cutting garden. And so this is available. It also comes with a bonus, that we give a download of the 6 flowers we literally could not fit into the book. And that has 5 cool and 1 warm. So you have 66, actually 71 flowers featured in this, including the download. So friends, I would love to sign one for you. And then of course, the book that started it all, Cool Flowers. If you were just learning about cool season hardy annuals, this is like the first bite. This is an easy read. It's only 160 pages. It just walks you through the concept. I didn't make this up, y'all. Our grandmas used to do this. I just rekindled it, right? And this just gives you the bare basics of how to apply it to your garden. Features 30 flowers, and it's just really a great way to get started. So I really hope you grow some straw flowers, and you'll love them as much as I do. And so I'm getting ready to dive into the Q&A. But remember to join me for the big show on Friday at 12 noon Eastern time, which is the big harvest. And we show everything that's coming out of the garden, eucalyptus and a lot of foliages and all kinds of good stuff. And if you're heading out, thanks for joining me. But now let's head into our Q&A. All right, so let's see what we've got here. Oh, y'all are carrying on tonight. All right, hello everybody. About those larkspur I was talking about on Monday, I'm in Southeastern. So Linda, you're gonna have to put that question again. I am so sorry, I do not remember what the question was. Hello everybody from everywhere. We have folks all over. Lisa. Oh, here it is. Planted Farmer Bailey larkspur plugs that are still small but still have some developing small flower heads. Better to remove them or leave them alone? I think I'd leave them alone, Linda. I mean, if they start elongating, because see, if you pinch it, it stimulates them to grow more, So I'd rather leave if they're little short blooms, kind of leave them and just let them go dormant and see what actually happens. But I would only pinch them if they started growing tall. All right, everybody. We do not ship live flowers at all. We ship the supplies you need to actually grow the flowers. Hello, everybody. My straw flowers never do well. A couple of blooms and then they die. They just need full sun, drier conditions. If it's a really rainy year, they might not be as good. But just keep trying, y'all. First time out of the gate, it just doesn't always work. You have to time the planting. You have to know when to plant, which all the resources that we offer can really help you pinpoint when you should plant them. And hello, all of our friends. When do I know it is time to dig out for my ginger? Sorry, I do not grow ginger. I'm not sure when but I would actually ask a search engine that with your location. Do you have a harvest stage online resource that we can purchase? It's in the book. Each of the Cut Flower Handbook shows the stage to harvest for all of the 61 flowers that are in this book. So yes. And then of course they're in our courses, but that's got a lot. I mean, it's not just about harvesting. I grew them this year from seed I purchased from you, and they are the gifts that keep on giving. I still have plenty of them coming in. I have dried so many of them. I have been so much fun. So, you know, for us, the reason I discovered about succession planting, we used to rely heavily on zinnias for our bouquet program in midsummer. Frequently, our zinnias in a wetter year get really eaten up with disease, and we just couldn't use them anymore during certain periods. And Strawflowers really saved us in our bouquet program. So yeah. Welcome, Stephanie. This is very early spring for you. When is very early spring for you? So my average last frost date, Wendy, is mid-April. So 6 to 8 weeks before that is mid-February to March 1st. How do I use the first time code? I don't know about codes, Stephanie, but you would apply that at checkout. I think there's a place to put that. And if you have trouble, if you have a code that you weren't able to use, you can reach out to info@thegardenersworkshop.com. That's our company email. And as soon as the office reopens in the morning, they'd be happy to help you. I know both of those whites, Linda. I just love them. We had our first frost this morning. That's Wanda, our good friend up in Alaska. She's a peony grower up there. Will the bright pink ones be available at some point? They should be available. I didn't look. Are they out of stock? If they are, they're being repacked probably. And again, if you get on that notification list, you'll just get a little notification when they come back in. Where is the link to purchase? So Brenda, you actually just hit the products, the little box up at the top, and you can actually hit the shop button that's at the bottom. If you're in the app, which you are obviously if you're in the comments, hit the shop button below and it brings up all the products that I talked about in the show. And then you can add them to your cart. Where is the link? Okay, I'm sorry. I placed my order yesterday. I'm jumping off the flower farm in Pier. Welcome, Tina. Soft butter dish, note to self. Not sure what that is. Love does not... Yeah. Please explain how you water the plants when using Bio360. Also, how do you determine what plants to use Bio360 versus no? So first off, when to use Bio3. Bio360 is biodegradable film. If you're planting transplants, we use the film. If you're direct seeding in the garden, you do not use it. That's the only difference between those. And we install irrigation underneath of it, T-tape. You can also water with a wand and water the top of the bed and the water runs in the holes. We've done that also. So irrigation, and I've given out the resources before. Dripworks.com is an irrigation supplier. They have great tutorials. That would be a place that I would check out. How many soil blocks will the heat mat hold? So the small soil heat mat will hold 4 of those trays of 60, so 240 of the small blocks at one time. And again, it's like a freight train. We start what'll fit on our heat mats, and then when they start cracking and we're moving them off, we're starting more and putting them on there, you know, so we're trying not to. Wanda says that mason jar rings work well too. That's a good idea. Golden retrievers. Yep, they graze the garden too. Thank you, Amber. Yes, I actually took my medicine. If y'all weren't here on Monday night when I did a pop-up show, I about choked to death on coughing. I have an upper respiratory, and I didn't take my decongestant. And once I start coughing, I can't hardly stop. Anyway, thank you. And I have cough drops right over here and water just in case. All right, friends. So the calendar is going to be a big deal. I think I asked this previously. Will there be a replay for the session with the calendar? You know, Lisa, ask. I'll try to remember to ask Kelly and Jesse. Jesse will actually be in, no, she won't on Friday. Kelly will. Ask that question if you're here on the show Friday, and I'm going to try to remember so I'll have an answer for you. I feel pretty certain it will be available for a replay, maybe not indefinitely, but it will be available for a replay. Yeah, the calendar. Lisa, do you have a teaching on pinching? Yes, and I talk about that in the Cut Flower Handbook. My pinching habit is to pinch half of a crop to get the best of both worlds. How do I prevent my straw flowers from dropping their heads after harvest them for fresh bouquet? Is there a wiggle test or something? I don't do wiggle testing, but I will say weather conditions, I think, have a lot to do with that. We occasionally get some that are more mature, has less droopy problems. And so I would just really do a deliberate test. You know, it's like, okay, let them open a little bit more on this part of the bed and see what happens to figure out what stage is best. And because I know that that can be an issue. And frankly, when we were harvesting them for fresh use in bouquets, if they were droopy, we just always were sure to put them in the middle of the bouquet, and the other flowers kept them upright. You know, I mean, people don't pull their bouquets apart. And so that really helped with that. But you really need to experiment. I just had this discussion earlier today about cosmos. Sometimes, and it's weather conditions with cosmos that'll make their heads go down if it rains on them, and the heads get full of water, and then they droop. They never come back up. So you have to really watch those kinds of things. What color straw flowers do you grow the most? The bright pink and gold, or the yellow gold. All right. Carrie, I don't know. Do you know Tori? When are you planting teen rose? How many different kinds of flowers do you plant? We'll be doing our fall planting in early October, and the verdict is still out on how much we're planting. All right. Will it discount automatically? If you are talking about the soil blocking kit being on sale, yes, it is marked. It's automatically. It's marked in the app for $71.96. Thank you for everything. Missed the code. I don't know what code y'all are talking about. I'm sorry. There isn't a code for the soil block maker kit. It's actually marked in the app at the proper sale price, which is $71.96. So you should be good to go on that. All right, my friends, I hope I encouraged you to grow straw flowers because they're great flowers. And we just absolutely love them. And they're a great crop, and can't wait for you guys. I can't wait till this whole calendar thing is, I can just say, here, buy it, instead of all these instructions that go along with it. But you definitely want to be in on the pre-sale. All right, my friends, so you can attend the live workshop. All right, my friends, until we meet again. And don't forget about the watch party on Friday night. YouTube, Facebook, 8 p.m. Eastern.